This is Jeremy Howard, Donatello from the Michael Bay TMNT films, and you are listening to Justin and Eric on Epic Tales from the Sewers.
Welcome to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. Grab yourself a slice, strap into the party wagon, and hang on tight. Give it up for your hosts, the Cowabunga Combo, Justin and Eric.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Epic Tales from the Sewers, sponsored by Deadly Grounds Coffee, coffee to die for. I am one half of your hosts. My name is Justin, and I have with me my co-host, Mr. Eric Will. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Justin. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. We're here. We've got a great guest today, so this is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Joining us today is an artist who has worked on comic books, toys, and video games, spanning some of our favorite franchises, including Masters of the Universe, She-Ra, G.I. Joe, Ghostbusters, the real and extreme versions, just in case you're wondering, including his work on the TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures comic series, and you know his artwork from Shredder's Revenge video game. His other work includes a New York Times best-selling series Plants vs. Zombies in his creator-owned series, The Candlestick Club and Time Kids. Please welcome Tim Lattie.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all. Dude, it's I just turned 44 and
oh hey.
And I was just redoing my website recently and dude, when you're in the mix, you don't think about it, and then man, it's humbling, dude. It's a nice little it's a nice little list, you know, like not horrible. I can't afford Mondo figures, but like, you know,
who can? This is
I'm not falling like that yet, but
in this
not
day and
a
age,
bad run.
can.
Not a bad run.
No, but just like, I mean, the sheer perspective of all of this from like starting with Masters of the Universe, you and I are literally the same age.
Okay.
So, you know, that's the thing. I turned 45 in like 3 months. So it's like, you know, the idea that it's like it all started with He-Man, and then, you know, at the same time we were going through G.I. Joe, the real Ghostbusters, none of that filmation with the monkey stuff, you know, and it's like, and then we've got Ninja Turtles and all that. It's like boom, 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 and you've hit them all. So I'm like,
well, dude, what's crazy too is that I'm in like a little family text, you know what I mean? Like with my mom's side of the family, and a lot of them are teachers. And so some of those turtle books are showing up at the Scholastic book fairs. And so they're taking pictures and putting them in the thread. That might be one of the coolest, I don't know, like one of the coolest like reward moments, because your family and friends it's weird. We're in it, so we can kind of be like, oh man, it's turtles. Like, this is great. Or my buddy's about to work on Speed Racer, and it's like, dude, kick butt. But like when they can kind of hold it and see it, it does feel a little bit different, and it's cool. And I texted back. I was like, in 1992, I'm getting the Ninja Turtle 2 whatever book at the Troll Book Order or Scholastic. You know, it's like the book come out with the movie. And like, it's I use this word all the time, but it's like a surreal feeling. And then at the same time, I'm catching them all at the 40th anniversary, and that is just coin flip.
oh man,
Serendipity moment. I do not know how it's happening, but I'm catching everything at 40 or 45. So yeah, it's weird. It's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about it, like you and I were 3 or 4 when some of this stuff came out, you know, so it's like Ghostbusters and all of that. So man, but I mean, you really get to pick up on like the 80s nostalgia. Yeah.
When we were little, me and my sister, my dad, so this is like pre-computers for all the Zoomers out there and stuff, you know, like you didn't have home computers, but my dad worked at the Air Force Base, and he would bring home that dot matrix printer paper. I guess they would
hell yeah.
You know, throw it in a box, you know, take it home, steal some. And pen.
The side. Yep.
And dude, me and my sister would take them, and I would draw on them, and we'd tape them up around the house. And the two things I would always draw were Ghostbusters. I'd make up Ghost, and then we had the Kenner Proton packs, and we'd go hunt the Ghost, and then sharks, because I was a big Jaws fan. If I could ever find a way to get to friggin' Jaws, there's like 2 or 3 I want to icing on the cake kind of moments. But so that's the first things I'm drawing is Ghostbusters and Jaws and sharks. Sharks haven't come into play yet, but you know.
Do you have a favorite shark just out of curiosity?
I mean, I guess besides like a great white, dude, bull sharks are pretty badass.
Yeah.
And I had a book. The book I used to draw from would talk about megamouth. And like megamouth is like super rare. Like they picked it up on like a Navy ship one time and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know, people that 5 times it's been seen. So I'll throw some love for megamouth.
I like
favorite shark. That was the one question I didn't want to get asked. I told you, don't bring it up.
I'm a Mako guy myself, you know, like the fastest shark and all that. So, you know, which is big down in the Gulf area. You have them rigs and such. So maybe there's an opportunity for you to get on Street Sharks, which is a new book IDW has.
Are they really doing Street Sharks? I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It seems like a perfect thing for you to do a cover for at very least. So
I might see if I have any friends left and see who the editor is over there. I wouldn't mind. I would love to do a cover actually. And
featuring newest character Megamouth.
Right. You bring Vin Diesel back. I was thinking about that too with Nacelle. I really like them. I follow the guy on Instagram that does Nacelle, and he just came out with those Moo Mesa figures. So that was something that was being talked about a couple years ago, is doing like a bringing back Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Ryan Brown's property. So I'm glad that's seeing the light of day. And man, those figures look amazing. I'm a big toy guy, so those figures look, you know, credit to them. They look phenomenal.
Not even just that, but let's bring back, what was it? I want to say it's Gunstar Heroes, but it's not. You guys remember the video game where you can play you can play as Cowboys of Moo Mesa? It was an arcade game.
Oh, really?
We have it here in Chicago at the Galloping Ghost. But yeah, you can literally play as like Marshall Moo or, you know, Dakota or the Kid, the Colorado Kid.
Yeah.
So you can play as them and you go through and it's a shooting game, but like you can either switch. Do you want to play as, you know, the Cowboys, or do you want to play as like the regular human characters? So it's pretty awesome. I'm like,
what was the name? What's the name of the place? Like that? Ghost of what? What's
Galloping Ghost? It's the largest arcade in the country. And it's in kind of like just the outskirts of Chicago. So
okay, what a cool name. That should be a Moo Mesa like storyline. Galloping Ghost, you know, Cowboys of Moo Mesa and the Galloping Ghost.
They have the cool claim to fame that I think is they have the Bucky O'Hare video game, and if you switch the video game, then it's the G.I. Joe video game. So the one where you get to play as like Scarlet or Roadblock, Duke, or Snake Eyes. So like you just hit the swap button and it's like, well, okay, now it's tough. Which one am I going to play as? I literally went there and I just played that machine for like the longest time. So I'm like, all right, got to be Bucky now, you know?
Yeah. See, I'm thinking about, I have a nice little turtle thing going on over there, and they keep coming out with the Playmates. My buddy got the pizza throw for me. I need to grab it from him for like $20.
Oh yeah.
And I've been looking at Bucky O'Hare on eBay too, just because they fit scale wise with turtles and they would probably like integrate well. So that's something I'm always kind of.
Oh, I bought the whole series. They're
really
amazing. Yeah, like they're just so good and they're nicely put together. The only thing that stinks is that it has kind of like a slide out action figure card that you can't get back on. So if you want to take out your Deadeye Duck, you know, it's just out. You know, so it's like
right.
So that would have been like the only thing. I'd be like, guys, you literally could have just made this. You could slide the card out and get them out. Like no one does that. That would have been amazing. I could save the box art, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Motu's doing that now. They do that with a lot of the He-Man stuff. I don't know why they decided to, but I appreciate it. You know what I mean? That you can slide the figures out. Because if I'm doing the mini comics, I can pop them out and display them, or at least like take a look. Or if I want to, like definitely. You said, put them back in the case. Well, we're talking about figures too. This is just like pipe dreams. This is me just daydreaming. But I have a USS Flag, and I have all the Jaws figures from Kenner, and we raised it too. Me and my buddy built that bottom layer, made it an ultimate flag. And I'm always eyeing up these reaction Jaws figures, and I'm just like, man, fuck, bruh. I so want to bust them out and like put them on the flag, but it's like the whole set's like 500, and I'm like, I'm never selling them. It might happen one day, or I might just have to X-Acto knife the sides and pop them out. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
always
Captain
torn.
Quint, talking about the USS Indianapolis
Yeah.
on the USS flag, which I just saw at a local
Right.
toy show in box for $5,000. So just to give like listeners, if you don't know what this is, it's a giant aircraft carrier that you could put your ships on and all that for GI Joe, and it was like over 7 feet long. Like it's
Jesus.
humongous.
Yeah. And so it's like this legendary thing that when I was a kid, I don't know if y'all ever saw one, but I never. It was just a mythical thing. You
I
never
didn't see
heard
one
about it,
in person until I was an adult.
right? I feel like Bane. I didn't see the sun until I was a man. Like, dude, I had an old Camry, and my buddy owned a comic shop, and a flag came in. His daughter needed a car for school, and so we did a trade off. I ended up with that in a Terradrome for
Oh yeah.
an 06 Camry. True story.
Hell yeah.
So I had a flag right here for a long time, and I don't know, man. It's up in the attic. I might bring it back one day. I need more room. I need more, not for like living. I just need toy space so I can put displays.
I 100% agree with you on that one. Trust me.
I think that's
Trust
the most
me.
You
relevant
can put
thing.
me in the corner on a bed or a cot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people do it with like end tables, like that, so that way you can still go and put things underneath if you need to and all that. So there's like gaps in it, because like I said, it's 7 feet long. So, but I mean, you could easily put like a pizza thrower on there. You can park your blimp on there for turtles,
Absolutely.
like anything you want.
That's
and
crazy.
There's not a ship you can't. It's literally a sofa. So that's
Yeah.
the other debate I have is like, am I really going to get rid of a sofa to put up the flag? Like I've thought about doing this Christmas tree thing where I have the flag, Eternia, and like work my way up. And then my personal like grail is the blank from Dick Tracy. And that would be like the star on the tree would be on the top
damn.
level.
Wow. On card, or would you just want like the blank up there?
Dude, I would take a custom if it's like legit, like if it's something quality. I saw a man, I forget who did it, but somebody did the puppet from the Fright Zone, and they did a remake of that recently, and it looks phenomenal. And I'm like, man, I wish I'd known. I would have snagged one and then just get me an old Fright Zone next time I'm at a show. So no, if it was something quality, I think carded, it's up there. It's a few grand for a carded blank. But I had every other figure as a kid. So I'm just kind of like, and it was something me and my mom always chased and we're trying to find. So what happened was like the movie just didn't do as well and they were holding that figure back. So you didn't find out that it was Madonna. And so when the movie wasn't Batman 1989, they just moved all that stock to the UK. And so that's why we just never had the blank. It was just low produced. And then they, they weren't lasting on toy shelves at the time. So it's just this, from my era, our era, it's,
I
one
actually
day.
watched that movie a couple months ago too, and I have some thoughts. It's one of those things. I'm always going to watch the movie. I always enjoy the movie, but watching it now as an adult, I'm like, wow. I'm like, William Forsythe was amazing in this. I'm like, and so was Dustin Hoffman and all that. But like, a lot of these guys really suck, And there's no dirt in this movie. There's no dirt. Like everything is like perfectly clean, and I'm like, it's just, I don't know, Like I'm like, I have some feelings about it, but everything does look exactly like the action figures, which is like one of the few things you can say about Dick Tracy.
Right. Yeah, I loved it when it came out at that time period. I have not rewatched it in forever. And dude was even pitching that as a cartoon at one point. And not a cartoon, comic. Was trying to get my hands on that because IDW had it. And I had this whole thing I was going to do. Dude, I wanted to do a mini series, and I wanted Dick Tracy to just beat the shit out of Sam the Tramp like every episode, like basically build up to where he looks like, he looks like ass, like in the figure form. But I wanted to start him off looking like a normal, like criminal or a wise talker, and then just Dick Tracy like just beats him up. It was like going to be a running gag. But dude, IDW was like, we're not touching it. They had the license, and they were just not coming back out with it. So it was DOA.
That's so crazy. I mean, that's another one that it's like it's I'm pretty sure it's public domain. Here in Naperville, Illinois, is the home place of, or at least birthplace or something of the creator. So we have a 7-foot bronze statue on the Naperville Riverwalk of Dick Tracy. You can see he's got the wristwatch and all that. It's cool as hell. So it's really, really an interesting thing to see in person. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Chester Gold, I believe. I think that's his name. So could
Maybe,
be wrong, but yeah,
I'm
that's
sure it's
cool.
on the statue, but I haven't been over there in at least a little while because it's cold as hell. So
Okay,
down
yeah.
down by the river, so, as they say. But I wanted to ask you about just some of your artwork and all that because I did tell you I was going to butter you up a little bit.
Okay.
Mm.
I feel your artwork reinvigorated this fandom, and quite specifically with the obviously the Shredder's Revenge, but
Yeah.
the Saturday Morning Adventures cartoon book. Like the first time you get to see that and all that, this like awakened fans who just hadn't seen anything like that in years, and they're like, wait a minute. I used to like the Archies, or I used to like the '87 comic book, and I play the video games, but I'm not into the comics like this. And it really drew a lot of people in. So, I mean, you got to take responsibility for being one of those people that literally brought people back to this franchise.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could go that far. It was but it was a crazy. I keep talking about. I don't know how to describe some of the stuff that happens. Like it's like serendipitous or whatever. But Steve Levine, who is one of the Mirage guys from back in the day, he ended up coming down here to the comic shop, and we just talking, BSing, and he was literally like who they based Michelangelo off of. Went to high school with Kevin Eastman and stuff like that.
We love Steve and we love D. Shout out.
Yeah, dude, D is awesome. We were out drinking.
They are absolutely
in Arkansas.
awesome.
Dude, they're the coolest.
Nice.
It's like hanging out. It's like probably what Michelangelo was like if he had gotten older. You know what I mean? Like just good. Both of them very, very genuine people. Can't say enough about them. And
absolutely.
And dude, we met, and then randomly he messaged me after the show and wanted to work on the Shredder's Revenge. So we did the Radical Edition and all that kind of other stuff, like some of the special stuff they did. And as that was going on at the same time, IDW was talking about doing the turtle thing. And I was just like, dude, Tom Waltz, the writer, one of the writers, Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz wrote Last Ronin. He's been my editor. He was my editor for years on Ghostbusters, other books we had done for almost a decade. Okay. And I was just squeaky wheel gets the grease. Mm-hmm. I was very adamant of like, hey, I'm drawing samples all the time, whatever. And that's just the way it played out. But they both happened at the same time. So it was crazy because Nickelodeon's going to be at your top, and then they license it out to .emu or IDW or NECA or Playmates, whatever. So they're separate of each other in who they're hiring. They all know Nickelodeon's going to know, the 3 or 4 or 5 of them that are running the brand at the top are going to know. But yeah, it was all happening at the same time. So I'm sneaking in stuff into Shredder's Revenge that was from Saturday Morning Adventures. So, and I even have it on my website and stuff like that. I believe the poster's up there. But yeah, so it was just really cool to be at both of them at the same time. And then NECA started coming in, and so did the Turtle Van and the Shredder's, not Shredder's, the sewer play set and stuff like that. So it was just this crazy. I say it was like land, sea, and air. You know what I mean? Or like getting a hat trick. It was just doing all of them at once. And me personally, I think they should just look like that anyway. In my mind, that's the Ninja Turtles. It's either going to be the '90s movie or it's going to be the cartoon show. And so I like them in that.
You pick the Turtles tracks, like episodes 1 through 5, right? Turtle tracks, like because you've got the line on the beak, which is something I love to see. It's like,
but dude, if you watch that series, when I'm drawing it, I had to remove the line on the beak. They didn't want it, but I'm with you. I think that's like quintessential Turtles. And what happened after that is that Turtles got so popular and it was doing so well. Y'all probably already know this, but they started going to multiple studios, and that's when the animation starts kind of getting a little. We're moving all over the place. It's not as consistent. But those first 5 episodes, that pilot, and even in the intro, they're going to have that line on the beak, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big believer in that as well. But that became contentious. That was an issue. Get rid of the line.
So they did have kind of like a style guide, a style Bible for you to go through, or
they have one like super fan, and then they have a couple dudes up at the top, and they kind of like oversee everything. And then you have the IDW editors who are almost like middlemen, and they send it to them, and then we get notes back and forth. That's kind of how it would break down. And then I'm doing my own. Well, what does Steve say? Well, how does he want them to look? You know what I mean? Like, what would we do at Mirage? How would they do things at Mirage? And so there was like, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission sometimes. So there was a lot of stuff I was sneaking in, just kind of like, can I get away with throwing in Bill and Ted scene? Can I get away with throwing in, dude? I actually have the rodent from Dick Tracy in one of the panels.
No kidding.
In issue the Super Casey issue. So it's you're playing a little bit of a game. I might even have the real page right here. So you're playing some game going on. You're hoping you can sneak a lot of stuff through.
Pulling some OA out. I don't like you right now.
Wait, what?
I will say this. Out. One thing that really shocked me is that you have a lot of the original artwork up on your website still, and I'm like, how has this not gotten scooped up?
That is nothing. I was sitting here the other weekend and I'm trying to pick like what to put up. That was just like, dude, I don't leave the house. I'm actually like very much a homebody, and I just like drawing and whatever, dude. Listening to wrestling YouTube. Like I'm ready for Cena's match tonight.
No, tonight, yeah.
Yeah, and so dude, I like minding my business. I don't do shows as much. Like we said, I might do PowerCon. I gotta respond to the guy like real soon. Because I appreciate him inviting me. Huh?
Come to Granite.
I might do it, man. Oh, dude, I got invited to Granite too. Steve got me into Granite, and dude, I raise chickens, and I just mind my business. But I like drawing. So
that's what they told
us.
That's
a horrible.
That's
everybody's
chickens.
Right. Everybody's probably like, what are you doing, dude? But like, yeah, I'm just like such a homebody. But yeah, here's a page. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it. But there's the rodent from Dick Tracy. So I snuck him in there. He almost gets hit by a truck. And then this is, if you look, it's the Bill and Ted, and it says San Dimas High School football rules and Wild Stallions and stuff like that. Like, so I don't know.
So awesome.
Dude, I don't know how that got through, but you just hoping they don't catch it and a lawyer doesn't see it. It's too late now. But it's in Scholastic now. Like, what you gonna do? Like pull them back in.
It's crazy. Like, and this is like something that's like gangbusters in terms of like getting kids back into it and the way it sells in Scholastics and all of that. Like, and I mean, did they just plan on this being like a 4-issue miniseries and then that was it, or was it like we already know we're going to do a full series?
No, the game plan was a 4-issue miniseries. Last Ronin was like just finishing up. We knew pretty early on. And then it went into the next, that's why you get a second #1 right after that. So no, initially it was going to be that. And, the bulk of the Ghostbuster team was going to be on it. So Dan and Eric and Louis Delgado. Louis colored, Last Ronin. Eric's been writing forever. Dan is in my personal opinion, I consider him a friend, a completely underrated artist in this industry for what he's done. I do not think, and he's another quiet one that you don't hear from Dan. You know what I mean? Like he's up in Canada, whatever he does up there, he's probably playing with toys and everything too. But just doesn't get enough credit for what he's done. They don't get enough credit for that Ghostbuster run, the three of them and Tom Waltz that went on for a decade. And I was happy. I was lucky to tag along in. I was kind of the kids. I was Scrappy Doo to the Ghostbuster team.
Puppy power.
Right. That's me. Like every month.
Scrappy. I've always hated Scrappy.
We had Eric on and we were talking about some of this. And I mean, just like the Ghostbusters team as it is invented the idea of the multiverse as it was translated into Spider-Man, because like DC did it first, like out of everything, but it's like the way that they did it with these different variants and everybody coming together. I said to Eric, I'm like, dude, that is Spider-Verse. Like they literally ran with your idea. You did it first. You're Simpsons. Yeah.
He's got a great mind for all that stuff. He can hear the characters, whatever. But like, you also got to understand, like, these are people, not everybody in the industry is like this, but when you're talking about like Eric, Dan, Lewis and stuff like that, they're the same as us. They're buying this stuff. They're watching it. So it's just like this. And I'm speaking for him a little bit, but it's like, dude, it's just like this very obvious choice. Like, yeah, this is how we should do it, or this is how it should go kind of thing. And so Dan was always sneaking in stuff. And yeah, man, like I said, I was lucky to be on that little Ghostbuster run when everything started getting, you're doing the 2016 Ghostbusters, you're doing the Extreme. Like we did the only Extreme book that ever existed. You may never see them again.
Yeah.
Extreme Ghostbusters again. So it just man, just moment in time. And then it was like the 40th anniversary. So we all get invited. They fly, they take us out to the Sony lot where they have like this little mini Ghostbusters firehouse. So you go into the Columbia Sony lot and it looks like a back lot. Not that I'm the only one I've ever been to, but it looks like
Jason Reitman's office area.
And it's Ivan Reitman. So you're walking through these buildings and then there's just like a miniature building version of the firehouse. And that's Ghostbusters. That's Ghost Corps. And they have the Ecto ones outside of that and stuff. And they had a big 40th anniversary thing. Dan Aykroyd was out there. All the Paul Feig was out there. This is before Afterlife came out. The problem was that COVID hit right after that. We had all these plans to go into this big Ghostbusters, Year of the Ghostbusters was going to go hard. They lost the license. It went to Dark Horse. Like that's why the movie got delayed like 2 years. But very approachable people over at Ghost Corps. I don't know what it's like now, but I walked right in the door, knew who I was. I was pitching a toy. I was trying to get the toy license at the time. Like I know what I'm doing, but I was trying to, how do we do this? We want to make toys. How do we get this done? So there's a whole like business side of everything too, that you learn along the way. And there's no way to be prepared for that, if that makes sense. Like, how do you get an IP? How do you get Street Sharks? Or how do you get whatever? Brave Star still floating around out there. Wink, wink.
We just got Thundar the Barbarian back.
Right.
I mean, that's Jason Aaron's moving from, Ninja Turtles going into Thundar the Barbarian. Why not Brave Star? Brave Star would be amazing.
It's well, at the end of the day, it's going to be like, can you get in touch with the people? One, so first step, are you going to be able to get into the room? Which isn't as hard as you think. And then secondly, it's like you got to sell them on the thing, and then you just got to have money. They're going to want you to get a bunch. They don't want you to get Brave Star. They want you to get Brave Star and like 10 other ones or 5 other ones. You know what I mean? And I just haven't.
Funny that you're saying all this, and Eric doesn't know this, but I've actually looked into this with Bucky O'Hare, and I'm like, what if I bought the IP rights for Bucky O'Hare and put out my own Bucky O'Hare comic? So like, I've literally looked into it. Currently owned by the state, mostly the estate of Neil Adams. So I'm like,
really?
As far as I got.
Okay.
Yeah, because Larry Hama was part of it too, and all that. But Neil is the one who retained the ownership rights. So because I think Christopher was it Michael Golden? I think was the other one that had it. It was like the 3 of them, their property. So this is like deep in the weeds, listeners. We're talking about this type of stuff. But there was almost a comic book that I put out and wrote, but it just didn't quite pan out. We'll see. So
it's a learning experience. I haven't figured it out yet. I've tried. I feel like I'll probably do it one day, but then it also comes into, why don't you just go do your own stuff at this point? You know what I mean? Like if you have the stuff. So it's always like this weighing thing. And then you might get a project that comes in and you start working on that and it goes to the back burner and then it comes up again. And a lot of these people are always changing, like when you brought up the IDW stuff, dude, those editors are moving left and they're flipping around all the time. And then they might be over here next month, or they might be at Mad Cave, or, so there's a lot of pieces in the industry.
It's a small industry though. It's funny because, you go from like, oh, I love this type of book. And it's like, oh, it's completely gone now. But you had mentioned earlier, like all this stuff that comes back, and you were talking about Speed Racer, and I'm like, oh, you just reminded me, I have to do a review of that book for, the new one that's coming out, because, I think David Pepos is doing it now. So,
my buddy Travis Himmel, who's a great artist, did a bunch of great Ninja Turtle covers. I've seen some of his pages, top notch artist. So you have all these guys out there too that are just, you don't even know who they are. It's not the 90s either, so there's only so many spots, man. Like it's its own thing like that. Just getting in there. So I'm very fortunate to Ghostbusters and dude, I could retire. I always make it like this. We were talking about the Rodman. I could not retire. I'd have to go do something. But we were talking about the Rodman jersey. Hey, dude, you don't have to be Michael Jordan. You know, Dan Schoening can be him. I could be Randy Brown or Jason Caffey. I'm still on the poster. I'm still on the banner hanging up in the arena. You know what I mean? So you don't have to be Steve Levine. But dude, just to be part of those teams, man, it's crazy, you know? And then when it's stuff you grow up loving, it's wild. It really is.
It's kind of like if like what I've heard recently is that a lot of stuff that comes out now is because people like the things that were created. So they grew up watching The Simpsons, or they grew up watching, like, I don't know, Futurama or anything else like that. Reading like Image comic books and Spawn and Youngblood and stuff. And they take their creativity from like that nostalgia, where it's like we're from a different era, like you and I are the same age, and we grew up on this 80s nostalgia, and now it's kind of a booming time for all of that. And those are the things that we're going back to, like, oh, we're going back to Bill and Ted's and Back to the Future and, Masters of the Universe and all that. And that's the stuff that we're getting now. We get a Masters of the Universe movie next year. You know, we just had a Ghostbusters movie. There's a new Ninja Turtles movie coming out, new series of it. Like, all this stuff is reinventing, and it's like, it's us. It's like kind of that time for this creativity based on everything that we loved. It's cool to see it. It's like, you're right at the forefront of that, with all of this stuff. And it's great to see that enthusiasm. It's like, you're talking about the 90s Bulls, it's like, you didn't.
Brother, hey, dude, that's not a random Rodman job. That's autograph, boys. So, like, no, I love it, dude. Like, this is my
loved Rodman. Rodman.
I have a pair of Worms Converse, like
what?
Well, not his, but the Converse, we wore in 97 or 98.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude. So it's also, I was sitting next to a guy at Wizard or Fan Expo last year, and he said something, and I totally agree with it. Like, if you're in this industry, especially now in 2025, when you're in the 90s, you're sending in letters and there's so many books popping up left and right. You're dealing with America too. You're maybe America, Canada. Dude, you're competing with the world now. So you better be ready. You better be ready to come to work. And and there's not as many jobs that are floating around. And so, like, you just appreciate, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can, like, somebody like a Dan or somebody like that, like, you can just appreciate the grit that it takes to, like, stick around. And if you don't have that kind of grit or that love for what you're doing here, for these properties and these characters, dude, you're not going to make it. So most of these people, I would put money, they don't have a choice. You know what I mean? So if that means whatever sacrifice you got to make, man, you want to draw Speed Racer, or you want to be part of that title. You want to be on that team. Whatever. So yeah, no, I love it, dude. I really do. I love all this stuff.
It's funny. I mentioned all this, and it's like, here you've got the Jay and Silent Bob reboot stuff behind you. That's like that's the plot of that movie, is what we're talking about essentially. Like bringing back the IP property, into the mainstream. Let's give it another shot. Chronicon, all of that.
Yeah.
When
for the record, I saw that film, and I saw that film in the theaters. When it came out, and I loved it. The Iron Bob and all of that. Like, I thought that movie was so cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And I've told this more before.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I wanted to be Brody, because that was the whole thing, was being slackers, or you either wanted to be Randall, and then when Mallrats came out, like, Brody was the dude. I would have the posters all over my wall. I'd try to make my room look like his. I'd play Sega hockey or NBA, NBA Live 97 and stuff like that. And I used to go to the mall, and I would, you'd almost, dude, because you don't have as much of an identity as a teenager. You're kind of looking at these, you kind of, whatever, they become influences. And Kevin Smith movies, if you're a 90s kid, you had nothing else with comic books. You know what I mean? Like, that was the identity, was those films. And I would go to this mall, Esplanade Mall, and, like, pretend to be a mall rat, pretend to be Brody, yada, yada. 20 years later, fucking Brody's comic shop is in Esplanade Mall, and I'm doing the art for the movie, and we're going in there days before they're doing filming, because my other buddy, Tim Stoddard of Showcase Comics, he's populating the set with stuff from his shop. And we're kind of like BSing, and we're just like, the guy just out of nowhere just goes like, yeah, man, yeah, we just got the license to use Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. And me and my buddy like kind of do this like comic book look at each other moment. And he's like, dude, this is the dude. And he's like, you want some originals to hang up? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you no. So we run to Michael's, frame a bunch of my comic book pieces. And so in the movie, there's like a scene where Brody comes out, and I have the pictures on my Instagram, but all my originals are hanging up on the wall in Brody's comic shop in the mall I used to pretend to be a mall rat in.
Oh shit! Full
And
circle. Full circle.
what, dude, how do you even make that up? You know,
Yeah, that's crazy.
And dude, Kevin Smith was in there. I went up to him after the first day. This was the first day of shooting, so I just finished Extreme Ghostbusters literally the day before, for the 35th anniversary of Ghostbusters. And then I go on set, and again, better to ask permission, better to ask forgiveness than permission. I just walk in and I'm just like, oh no, I did the art, and nobody really told me anything, so I'm just hanging out. And yeah, dude, go talk to Kevin Smith afterwards. Nicest dude in the world. Could not be a nicer guy. Could not be a more supportive guy. And was like, oh, dude, I love your art. Got a photo with me. I don't, man, just crazy experience. And like I said, they let me take home. That's a prop from Chronic Con, and that's some of the art I did. And then that one you can't see as well. We did we called it a blunt in the family instead of a death in the family. Mm-hmm. And so we put our name, written by Banky Edwards, Tim Lattie, and Tim Stoddard. Wow. And so that's what's one of the posters that's in the background at Chronic Con. So yeah, one of them things, man. But to be at that mall, and they said that would be the mall they use for Mallrats too, if they finally can. So I think Universal has the rights to it, and it's going to be one of those things. But we have this dead mall out in Louisiana, and I've heard multiple times. I heard them say it, like, this is the mall for Mallrats too. I'm like, please, I don't need another one, but if it happens, like, yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's the hope too, that they would bring something that's beloved back. But I mean, I don't know. I loved Clerks 3, and I don't know if it hits the same way it does for someone who's not a 40-year-old, white dude who grew up watching this and like had to experience like losing a friend to a heart attack. Like, I don't know if it hits you the same way, but for me, it's like incredibly relevant to my story now. Just like Clerks was relevant, in the 90s to my experience, and Mallrats was. So it's like, I don't know, like it just, like, maybe the story needs to be told, maybe it doesn't, maybe it needs to be a novel, like who knows?
I always felt like the Clerks movies, because okay, so we're gonna be in the same age, the ballpark. But like I always felt like they were like watching your older brother's story. So it was like Clerks 2, when they're kind of dealing with real life and real jobs and working at, movies, or going back to the Quickie Mart, it was kind of like, oh, that's what your 40s feel like. And then seeing Clerks 3 was like, oh, that's what your 50s is going to feel like, or whatever. So I always feel like, at least for our age group, Kevin Smith is like a decade ahead. And it's kind of neat to, I loved it too. It got a little somber, but he's in a different place in life,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Movie 43 was great too. The 430 movie. Sorry, not movie 43. That was awful. But the 430 movie was really good. I think that's that weird, like, sort of movie that had like all these actors like doing cameos in it, and it was terrible. But yeah.
Yes.
Don't watch movie 43. Watch the 430 movie by Kevin Smith. That was good. Man, you snuck original Ninja Turtles artwork into Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and most people don't even know that.
Nah, because I'm busy playing with my chickens, bro. Like I'm busy 3D printing like shit for no reason. Like I don't know, man. It's just I need to do more of it. But yeah, like that happened. But yeah, dude, it was actually. That was supposed to be a Wizard cover, but I don't think they got, I don't know what happened. So I was like, dude, wow. I'm like, God, if I could draw the last Wizard cover ever, because it was already extinct at that point, and they were just going to have a Blunt Man and Chronic Wizard, like they did Mallrats in the beginning. Yeah, dude, it was, I got a ton of pictures on my phone, and some, I put a bunch on Instagram. You got a good dig for it, but yeah, pretty crazy. I don't know what to say to that one. I don't know how it happened.
I was just going to mention, you could see the background here. We've got Thrum from the Saturday Morning Adventures, who was kind of like an like he was not like what you'd think of a rock soldier and all that, but I absolutely love this character. And I was wondering if you had some insights into this character in the creation, because he's Lieutenant Thrum from Dimension X, who's a giant rock soldier, like General Trag or anything along those lines. Like, do you have any insights onto this character? Are there Easter eggs on for the clothing he wears or anything like that?
Yeah, I wish I had it. I'll have to find it and post it. So, and he's on the Shredder's Revenge deluxe edition poster and big box art cover. So there's a poster
That's
back.
awesome.
So again, I'm doing these at the same time. So I'm designing the character as I'm doing the Shredder's Revenge. So there's a little, remember on the and I've said it 5 times on this episode, but I'm a big toy fan. So when you had the sewer playset, they had all these posters and stickers that you would put on the piping. And then they had that fence that had all these posters on it. And so when I'm doing the Shredder's Revenge thing, I want it to look, originally it was supposed to look like a toy box, and it was going to be based off of one of Steve's old designs. And then you just get cooks in the kitchen, you know what I mean? And it kind of expanded, but I wanted to keep that same vibe. So in the background on the Shredder's Revenge deluxe edition poster or, box, there's a poster in the background, and it says something like joins Krang's army at Rocks. And you have the Ready to Rock soldier on there. You also have a VR poster with Leonardo with the VR helmet from the first issue where they fight everybody in the. And fun fact too is in that issue, Eric comes in and he's just like, hey, they go into a video game world. And from there, this is why you're there as a comic book artist. Then you just make everything up. And then you have a month to do it. You don't have endless time to figure this out. So I'm just looking around and I'm like, well, shit, fucking video game world. Where are we going now? What do I do? There's no direction. And I start looking around my yard. And if you look at it, there's all kinds of my chickens are in there. So every time the turtles are doing something, behind them are chickens mimicking their actions, fighting a hawk. And then I made the Mario Brothers thing where my rooster is fighting and then he saves the hens at the end instead of the princess. So as Leo and Shredder are fighting, the rooster and the hawk are fighting behind them. But then we go to the Ready to Rock soldier, and I'm still trying to keep that toy theme. So I wanted him to look like a Playmates toy. So Eric came up with the character, came up with the name, came up with the story. And then that was it, man. It was just Rock Soldier, whatever. And so if you look at it, I'm trying to make it look like a heavy duty, like a Playmates toy from back in the day that Steve or Dooney or one of them would have created. And I have other designs that were not in the book where I was going to give him a jacket with a motorcycle emblem. And it was going to be a neutrino chick, a new neutrino girl. And it was, I forget where, I'll look.
Awesome.
But yeah, so there's all kinds of unused art.
A pinup that was a neutrino?
It was going to be a neutrino kind of you know how on a bomber in World War II, they'd have a Varga girl or something. So it was going to be something along those lines.
Huh.
And it was another one of those things where you kind of got a little love, man. They give you a little runway, take it and see what you can get away with. And it's funny you brought up the Ready to Rock soldier because my buddy who was in this great band, he's in a band called Spylights now, and they were in another band called the Scorsese's, local New Orleans stuff. But I put him in the comic, so he's the one singing to the Ready to Rock soldier with his lyrics,
okay.
And so that now he's sharing it online, so it gives it this real world kind of thing. And I'm a big crossover person, so if I can sneak in stuff from Ghostbusters or Ninja, in my mind, they're all in the same world. It's just where do they fit, kind of thing. So, yeah. So even the Scorsese's exist in Ninja. Vinny lives in that world now too.
I love it because he's like, if you're 16, this isn't pretentious. And I'm like, that is Eric Burnham's humor, perfectly. I'm like, yes, that's exact. He literally calls out the punchline, and I love it. So
yeah, man,
so fun.
And
this character's awesome. He needs his own action figure.
So funny you said that too. So while I'm trying to be more business oriented because you're always a grunt when you're at that level. You know what I mean? You're always, and I'm trying to how do I get on the global branding team? How do I get here? How do I do this? And when you get into these rooms, like I said before, you think it's going to be I don't know, a bunch of guys with cigars and the blinds are down and it's these. No, dude, it's a bunch of skateboarders and stuff. And you're just wait, hold up. like these people are just not as far removed. Like we're the same people. Like it would look like us talking is like a Ninja Turtles meeting. I swear to God. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, I swear. But yeah, like it's very interesting, and so I'm trying to move forward with that stuff. So I was pitching something to Playmates called Ninja Turtles Mutant Verse, and since that was like the first character I created personally or taken part in creating for Ninja Turtles, I made him like the forefront of it, and I wanted to bring back the Playmates toys, almost like Motu Origins. But introduce new figures from Saturday Morning Adventures and other stuff. So there was like a lot of pitches that were going on. There was a pitch to NECA that never got picked up. So there's so much stuff y'all don't see and so much work that goes. I had this awesome Australian adventure with Michelangelo going to Australia and doing like this whole Crocodile Dundee thing and like mutant koalas and stuff. And it's like,
maybe we get Walkabout finally, you know?
Dude, well, Walkabout was in it. That's what was going on. It's like it was talking about doing Walkabout figures and how would that look for NECA.
I want that. Like as a fan, I want that. And it's like we could do less with like we need this obscure character from the NECA line for like, oh, we've got like this cartoon character and all that. And then like 3 months later, everybody's selling them on eBay because they got the 2-pack and they got the one they really wanted.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, let's do less of that and more of like what you're talking about, where it's like, here's here's like a third tier character that some people of us are obsessed with called Walkabout and Kid Kangi. Let's take those guys and do something with that and be like, hell yeah, sign me up.
And what's the backstory of that? Like, where did he come from? What is his, like how did just tell that story? Or I'm always looking at like box art or whatever. And I'm just like, well, why are they in this scene? Why are they in the turtle tubes? Or what is this, sewer weapon or whatever? Like tell these stories. Like that would be cool to like find out why they had these vehicles, why they have these characters. And
that's
yeah,
what
like
was
you
so
said,
exciting about the Masters of the Universe crossover, and I mean, which Eric and I like read like little children sitting on our beds at the hotel at Grand State. We're like, oh my god, this is so awesome!
We got early access.
It's the Ram Van.
we got early access to them before they were even sold.
Oh, really? So these are the comics or the mini?
No, they were the comics.
Oh,
they were the comics.
We bought the first issue, like I think the week before it was supposed to come out. So
awesome. Yeah. So we got to read it, and we actually told Freddie ourselves that we read it, and he was like, "How?" I'm like, "Well, we got our buddy Mike Ruth over there, so he had quite a few issues over there that we bought off of him." So.
Oh, crazy! Oh, they got that Diamond order early or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
back in the day when Diamond was a thing, right? No, but it was cool because we had Tim Seeley and Freddie Williams on. And we were talking about it, and they're like, "Well, I can't allude to it," and like I specifically called out exactly what my theory was, and I walked over to Freddie and I go, "I freaking knew it was Renette," and he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and there was something going on with that too. Like he had a lock on that Turtles Motu stuff. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to get on that too, and it was just like, nope. Like,
what about like for covers and all that? Because that seems like that would have been like Kismet, like perfect. Let's get him on this.
So at that time when there were like, it was like rumors floating around about it. And so again, like you're dealing with all these, I don't know how much inside baseball, but like, dude, you have the Mattel team, and you have all the guys at El Segundo. Then you have the people at Dark Horse, and then you have people above them at Mattel that are like dealing with. So you have like project managers and stuff that are handling Origins, whatever. And so like when the word's kind of floating around, and again, I would be considered in these situations, you're almost like a vendor. You know what I mean? Like they have different terms that they're going to use for you. It's not so. And so when I'm hearing about it online, I'm just kind of like nudging. I'm like, hey, like this seems like a pretty obvious, like I'm already doing Turtles and I'm doing Motu literally at the same time. Like, how do I get on this? But yeah, Freddie apparently this was something that had been rumored years ago. I don't know what was going on with him, but dude, he had it on lock. I mean, he killed it. Yeah. Like I'm not saying anything, but
I don't think anybody could have done it other than Freddie and Tim. Like,
Sure.
it just the way that they did it and all that. I just don't think that like the passion and everything that you're talking about, like they breathed this project. So I was like, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of gave us a little bit of a heads up about something about what was happening with the MTOU Turtles. So
but then you go over to Dark Horse, that's a whole different story. And so like but I'm drawing the classic cartoon I'm doing my own He-Man. It's just bandwidth. Like, how much time do you have to, hey, I put in a good word, I'm trying to do something with that. Do I go and start messaging and hunting down Dark Horse people, or do I just stick with the Motu stuff I got to get done? And that's realistically what goes on. And then you got to go life. You got to go do life stuff, here and there. Like, oh, I got to go to the grocery, or
you got to be an adult, I guess.
Right? Yeah, I actually. That's like before we started the show, I'm like, hold up, let me turn off the dryer.
I was just thinking what I would like to see your art in. Like, if I had a choice, like, what would I pick? And there's two that pop to mind. The first one would be Saturday Morning Adventures Hellboy, Dark Horse.
Okay.
Which would be cool as hell, because to see, after seeing your Thrum, what does your Hellboy look like? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, all right, that'd be awesome. You already have, your Candlestick Club, which is kind of like that occult stuff. So it's like, I know you have these sensibilities, you have that speed, you have that gear. So I'm like, let's see his Hellboy. That would be amazing. And then the other thing, I mean, I think that if you were to do something like an Usagi Yojimbo or anything else like that, that would be really cool to see in your style as well.
I actually have a Usagi cover that I didn't do for issue number 1. That's like floating around, sitting on my desk. That just never got to it. It was going to be a shop exclusive. I don't know what it was. I think it was going to be a shop exclusive. I would love to do that one too. Hellboy,
excuse me.
And I should post it. I think just finish it because it's like borderline done. Yeah, Hellboy never even crossed my mind. Would jump on that in a heartbeat for sure. If you know anyone, send me an email. I'd be all over it. Dude, it's as far as like the other stuff, like you were mentioning Candlestick Club, I'm getting more into webtoons, and I think that if you can find a way to make that some kind of way profitable or some kind of financially viable, I do like the format. I know we're probably a little more old school here, but the eyes are on, like the kids are reading webtoons and stuff. And that's why I went that route with Candlestick Club. So that's a free really comic. You can go grab it if anybody's interested.
So if people are looking for something to read, if you like the idea of like, Ghostbusters and like that occult research and kind of like a film noir style or anything else like that, like I'm reading this and I like to dissect my media, and I'm like, oh, Tim grew up reading Chris Claremont X-Men comics, clearly.
Met him.
I'm like, yeah. Yep. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the stuff that I eat up. Yum, 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 yum. It's like, oh, it's a dark, stormy night. I'm going to meet this person, and it's this, and it's just going through, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, there's something supernatural going on. Oh yeah, there's witches. Yeah, sign me up. So I thought it was cool as hell.
Yeah. I appreciate that. That's a fun project that I'm working on, and I'm building. Again, it's time. Whenever I can put out a webcomic, I'm putting out a webcomic. They're free. But that was actually a Ghostbusters pitch. So originally, So even they have that kind of like build. Well, you haven't seen some of the stuff yet,
it has that feel to it. So I was curious how it came about, but I could definitely see it starting out as like a Ghostbusters.
It was I was pitching a book, and I wanted to do Tales from Ray's Occult Bookstore, and it was going to be Ray and Kylie in the bookstore, and it was going to be all the adventures the Ghostbusters don't take, and then Kylie would take them on and do like go here or there or whatever. And they didn't take it, they didn't go for it, and but the idea was still kind of like fun to me, and I just started reworking it, and it just completely turned into its own thing. And it was actually, then it became Tales from the Occult Bookstore. And then I thought it needed like a alliteration, catchier name. And then it just became Candlestick Club. And we are in the very, very early stages of that. That is, I have a mummy story next. And I just want to have these, dude, y'all remember like Erie, Indiana and shows like that? Like I want that kind of like Monster Squad, Erie, Indiana, like those kind of fun people sleeping in Tupperware or whatever,
Yeah.
Right. So I want to,
awesome. And I mean, I totally see Kylie in that. And that's, it's awesome. I really liked the premise for Time Kids too. I didn't get a chance to purchase that before our interview, but that is exactly the type of book that I like. It's like, oh, we got a group of kids. They're kind of like precocious and all that. It's like that Stranger Things sort of formula, but it's like it's time travel, bro. Like it's not aliens, what happened and all that. And then you mix in like real world things like the letter from was it a kid in Ireland to Bill Clinton asking
that was a
about like
speech he gave,
aliens and stuff.
in like the 90s.
I'm like, come on. I'm like, this is the kind of genre where I'm like, oh yeah, like it reminded me very much of the book that Tom Taylor and John Somariva were doing, the Neverlanders. Like that sort of energy to it. And I don't know if you've read that one, but
no, but
that's basically like
beast.
Oh, so such a fun book, but it has like that fun energy, and it's like, yeah, this is how you get kids interested in reading Batman and Spider-Man and stuff like that. You start them off with a relatable story with characters that they can relate to it, and they're like, oh, I'm this guy, because he's the sarcastic guy or anything, and it all comes back to Ninja Turtles. And Eric, I was going to send you this picture before. He's got a Ninja Turtles cover, an homage to the NES video game on the Time Kids, like exclusive you get. And it's like, yeah, like shot for shot, like the friggin' Michael Dooney cover. So it's
and that's Anne Frank, like holding the book. So like she's holding her diary. So that's my other debate is like, do I call them by name, or are they like, is it Amelia Earhart, or is it just redheaded, gumshoe pilot from the 20s or whatever, like, so that's like and then I gave him a Yeti as a pet and all these kind of, so I like the fantastic. I like having kids that look like aliens fighting vampires and Yetis, but also, dude, you have to have that like core, you have to have that emotional like grounding that like, hey, I resonate with, like you were saying, like, hey, I can see myself in this character. Like, yeah, all this crazy stuff's going on, but like I feel like them. And believe it or not, years ago, we were at New York Comic Con with the Cheshire Media, who is my partner in this, and Millie Bobby Brown grabbed some of these comics. I have a video of it when she was doing season 1 of Stranger Things. Grabbed a bunch of Time Kids. That's a little engine that was a Kickstarter I did years ago. We were able to work with UNICEF. It's been on the NASDAQ opening bell. Like it's been on that giant NASDAQ screen in downtown New York in Manhattan. And we are trying to pitch it as a cartoon show currently. And this is another one of those moments of like, man, it's funny. Like you kind of like, it's almost like a video game. Like you level up over time. And so like in the beginning, when I'm starting to do all this kind of stuff, I don't understand things. And maybe you have like imposter syndrome or whatever. And then it's like you're being around more and more. Like I said before, you go into a Ninja Turtles meeting and it looks like this meeting. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Like there's like, you start feeling a little more like you belong here. And so hopefully we'll see where that goes in 2026 and maybe moving forward. We're in the middle of like streaming wars. You know what I mean? Like how much of it is just, you have to go do it? How much of it is you just have to get up and get in front of somebody and be like, here's my idea. I know enough people. So it's kind of it's put up or shut up moment for me. And the Time Kids. So I want to see what we can do.
Cool as hell. I was looking to see if it was on like Comixology, Amazon and all that, and I'm like, there's no digital version, so I'm going to be looking for that book because that's like right up my alley. I'm like, oh yeah, like you mentioned Monster Squad. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's like peak.
And look, so here's a copy of it, and the opening scenes, where is it at? Oh, and I don't know how many people catch this kind of stuff or not, but like the opening scenes of the book is them sitting on a rooftop. And it's just like the scene from Monster Squad when his dad comes home from work. They bring him McDonald's or Burger King, and he's watching monster movies on the roof. So this is like an homage to Fred Decker and Monster Squad, them sitting on the roof talking, and then it turns into whatever the world. So there's little stuff that I'm trying to sneak in. Maybe nobody will ever notice, but I think Fred Decker is another one that's just Night of the Creeps, Monster Squad, RoboCop 3. He probably helped Shane Black write Predator and some of these other movies. Like just another guy that does not get the credit he deserves. And Monster Squad was such an influence for me as a kid.
Oh yeah.
So this was my like alien Monster Squad kind of. Probably not as like rough, They were a little more rough around the edges. The Monster Squad was, but yeah, that was my initial idea on this. Was like, what if we did UFO Monster Squad? What if instead of Frankenstein they had Yeti? You know,
it's also got the weight of the destinies of who these people will become. So it kind of carries that with it too. So like I was thinking of this as like, yeah, this is the absolute perfect way to get kids into like, well, what's the story of Anne Frank? Well, what's the story of, I don't know, I'd throw out Charles Lindbergh, but, like, what's the story of that like just throwing them out there.
But, how many times did you get that really from cool. Like Mr. Peabody and Sherman and Bullwinkle or something like that? And Back to the Future also had a great cartoon I loved. I have all the figures right here, the NECA figures in my sewer. That was another one. Like I always like those time travel. Maybe this is how it happened, or I don't know. So and so slipped on a banana peel in the Revolutionary War. These funny little like, hey, maybe these kind of people caused it inadvertently in a funny way or whatever. I love that. I love that concept.
That's awesome. I mean, I was saying like I have an entire wall of turtle stuff, and when it's not packed up, Eric has tons of stuff too. Literally the biggest thing I have is like my last Ronin statue, which is huge, and then next to it I have these. So like literally within arm's reach is like your work. Like that's like the impact. Every interview that I've done in the past 2 years, these have been sitting here, in camera view pretty much. So it's like you've been like on all of that. Like
yeah, but I'm just like you got to give it to the Mirage guys and Steve Levine and Kevin and Peter Laird and stuff like like those guys. Dude, there was a cool Ninja Turtles 100 that came out a few years back, and they kind of redid that Spider-Man issue where it's like a silhouette and they have everybody that worked on it. And I remember thinking, I swear, I remember sitting there thinking like, man, I wish I was on that Turtle 100 cover. I wish I had made the list or whatever. And then my buddy again, Tim Stoddard from Showcase Comics, he sends me a picture like months later, and he was like, dude, you were on the cover like 3 rows down from Steve Levine. And I was like, and it's just like, and then you look at the list of people, dude, Kirby's on there. Like there's all these people that have touched these properties and you're just carrying on tradition. You know what I mean? And that's why I liked hearing from Steve, and I would talk on the phone a ton. And I don't know, it's just kind of neat to hear. I'd ask him like weird questions like, what's the stuff on the skateboards on the Turtles 2 video game cover? Like what was that? And I'm like, were you trying to like, what was the message? And he was like, I don't know, fuck, this was on the TV at the time. We were watching this movie. Like it was so, and you get these like real world behind the scene. I'm like, this motherfucker.
He's so funny. Like just like I had to sit next to him and do a panel, and I'm like, oh, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to make this easy for you.
right. Look, this is like Obi-Wan Kenobi Steve Levine. What was Steve Levine like in the 80s? I've seen pictures of him walking around with cases of beer when he met
I can't imagine him with hair.
Right, yeah, right. Right, we're getting Sensei Steve now. Like, I want to see what he was like when they're riding around in tanks in the 90s at Mirage and stuff. Yeah, dude, Kevin Eastman bought a tank.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They had so much money. Every day they would just pick a different car to drive, different motorcycle, like all these wild stories. Dating Julie Strain's at like Christmas parties with them and stuff like that. Be movie queen. Yeah, it's
I like
wild.
talking to them about like when they did bands. They're like, yeah, we just went into the basement and like everybody picked up a different interview or like a different thing, and it's like, yeah, we're like Peter's on guitar playing like Neil Young songs, and we did a version of Danzig Mother where I sang. And I'm like Steve, I have to hear you sing Mother by Danzig. Like that is just like that's a life goal of mine now. Can you imagine?
I can't imagine him singing it all, but yeah. No, that's
I don't know.
But yeah, so definitely you're definitely carrying on tradition, and dude, the Ninja Turtle, like that whole thing, it's like the American dream. Like we may never see something as you borrow some money from your uncle to get some books printed, and it turns into like Bugs Bunny essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as big as it's. I mean, it's hard to even fathom, and then to meet the people. I'm knocking over Dark Knight Batman, but like you meet the NECA one. But and this is my operating table. So like,
oh yeah,
you're meeting these guys and you're hearing these stories. And again, it's this interesting moment of like, they're not, dude, it's not that big a world, man, and people aren't that far removed from each other. Like one of my buddies helps Freddie Williams do Motu work. And this is a guy that I've known for 30 years, Derek Donovan, another amazing artist that don't get credit for. He used to be Derek Oakwin. He literally put remember Kyle Rayner's girlfriend got put in the fridge back in the day and it killed her, and that was his like hero arc. Dude, that was him. That was him in the 90s, cutting his teeth in comics, getting to kill Kyle Rayner's girlfriend in his like third issue as Green Lantern. So it's neat, man. It's neat to like be able to meet these people, and I don't know. I just, maybe it's not that far away. Maybe it's like right around that corner. You think it's so off in the distance, and maybe it's right there. He's got to tweak something. That's what I'm hoping.
What's your dream project, if not already Ghostbusters or Turtles, or maybe another Ghostbusters Turtles crossover? But
so that's where I'm at right now too. Is where I'm kind of like, I want to. What is so. Dude, I can't take credit for Leonardo or something like that. Like I'm just somebody that got to work on Ninja Turtles. But like Steve and all those guys, they were there from the beginning. That's their stuff. What is my contribution going to be? Like, am I going to take the risk and take the leap and do my own project? Can I get Candlestick Club over? I'm using wrestling terms now. Can I get Time Kids over? So that's where I'm at now. And that's what my main focus is at the moment. I'm like, dude, I'm 44. Let's go for it. You know what I mean? As far as like working on IPs, there's not much left, man. Batman. So now we're getting our Batman comment in. That would be one to add to the list. Mattel's got the DC license. I don't know who's going to be working. This is not inside baseball. I do not know anything. I would assume there's going to be a Motu DC crossover. I would assume.
Another one?
I do not know any. No, but I'm saying with the toys, like a mashup. An Origins version.
Maybe pre-COVID, there was kind of like a Mattel version of, like the He-Man style, Masters of the Universe style figures. And it was like Batman and Superman and Lex Luthor and Killer Shark had one. I think I have a bunch of them. So it was actually kind of cool. And I don't know, it was called like Masters of the Multiverse or something.
Okay.
Maybe
I did see that actually. I did see that. So maybe that would be a way to get to the DC characters. Spider-Man would probably be very suited for me. That would probably be like a hand in a glove moment. And then I'm a big teen sidekick person. So I would love to do like a Young Justice or Robin or one of those. Dude, Tom Grummett, one of my favorite artists all time. Got to go to dinner with him a couple years ago. And all we did was like talk about Kirby and like, those were the Mike Waringo, Tom Grummett, Tom Lyle. Todd Newok is another one I feel like doesn't get enough respect as an artist, and his contribution. Tom Grummett does not get enough respect for the level of artist he was.
Fully agree.
And is, and how much work he did. So I'm just saying that in general, but that dude was doing like $200 sketches at Fan Expo, and we're all just like, what? You know what I mean? Like, dude, this dude should be on another. I'm just putting in a campaign for Tom Grummett right now and all
Doesn't
these
that
guys.
blow your mind when you see some of this stuff too? Like we were just out at I was out at Terrificon this year, and we've got Eric Talbot sitting on one side, Michael Dooney sitting on the other side, and like people are walking by. I'm like, what are you doing, people? I'm like, what are you doing? Like the two most distinctive artists in this entire place are right here. And I talked to the press people. I'm like, yeah, you need to go over and take like copious pictures of these two. They're like, really? So if you look at their website, like what they had for the year, it's like, oh, there's like all these pictures of like Eric and Michael on there, who I think would have been completely passed over had I not told them. Yeah.
But it's also like what I'm telling y'all about. I need to do more shows and do more stuff. And like, this goes for anybody. From the vibe I got and, kind of getting to know him a little bit like a Tom Grummett, dude, he just wants to go back to Canada and go look at the Northern Lights and take walks and draw pictures. Like he's not interested, and he's just doing it.
Peter Laird stage. Okay.
Right, like Peter Laird, dude.
Yeah.
He shows up at Levine's house every blue moon. They go to like he's just when he does Granite City, dude. He's not getting paid for that. He just does it because he's doing it for the fans. He'll sign autographs all day and then he goes home. So he's genuinely doing that he does not need to do it. So I think that's also part of this. Like these true comic book artists, a Dan Schoening, dude, you just want to be drawing. Like not everybody wants to go on the sales pitch run or whatever, or whatever. If you get them going, well, you get Tom Grummett or some of these people going, they'll talk. Once they get comfortable, they're gonna, you'll get to hear all kinds of great stories about Will Eisner and Kirby and awesome stuff, dude. But yeah, I just don't. I think it's just an educational thing. I'm taking a wild guess. We're all kind of like students of the industries and been doing this for so long. We know all these people. Most people have no clue what their contribution was. I don't know how you rectify that. I don't know how you handle that, but man, you got so many talent. You got so many people that had such an influence, dude. Just Kirby alone, how much he taught. Like he is Genesis. Like he influenced Bruce Timm, which influenced all these different like Thundar the Barbarian is Jack Kirby was like I think doing design,
production design. Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy, man.
And he goes back to like the golden age working on like the Blue Beetle character, predating Superman and like the pulp heroes and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, wow, I never realized how deep Kirby went. It's
dude, he was on fucking Fleischer Superman. You know what I mean? Like he's like, it's like, God damn, dude. Like how much can one guy in my mind, I feel like he wrote the language like those guys, like him, Eisner, like we're all just like adding to it or whatever, probably subtracting
like programming. He invented the Unreal Engine for the comics, and everyone copied it. So yeah, man, Kirby is obviously the progenitor of all this. Like without him, we don't have Ninja Turtles, we don't have Frank Miller, any of that kind of stuff. So it's like he's the piece that maybe he should have been one of the Time Kids. Yeah,
maybe they go meet him one day. Maybe I'll do like a Kirby. You know how they did the cop in Superman the animated series was basically Curry Turpin or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do like a Kirby type character in there one day. He's just this cigar smoking little like pudgy little guy, like snapping at people.
I love it. I got to do the voice of Kirby in a voice comic, and I studied his interviews, and I had the sort of accent, and I'm like, he kind of sounds like Barney Rubble a little bit, but like Boston, New York sort of indiscriminate sort of thing. So I did the voice. It was like, oh man, that was awesome.
No, he's like Mr. Magoo from what I understand. Like at some point he's thinking about all the fucking Marvel scripts, and then he couldn't even drive his kids home from school. Like he's pulling up onto the side of the sidewalk, garbage cans are flying everywhere, like cages of chickens. They wouldn't let him drive anymore because he was always thinking about stories and stuff. This guy. Yeah, no, Kirby it's so fun, and you can find like weird, 90s interviews with him, and he is kind of really. You might have to watch him a couple times he's going somewhere, but like you said, the way he talks and kind of the cadence and everything, it's a little confusing. But if you watch him a couple times, you're like, oh wow, that was like brilliant. Or man, he's just unanimously a good dude. I've never heard a negative Kirby story,
He's someone like a Bill Finger who, history needs to look back on the truth of and be like, hey man, this is the guy.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, we talked so much about like all kinds of stuff. We barely got to scratch the surface on you and like what you like and stuff like that. So, I mean, while we have a little extra time here, I just want to ask, like, what's your history with the Turtles? Like, how did you get into them and, your favorite turtle, that kind of stuff?
It would be the same way so I had a buddy and he passed. So you were talking about like the Clerks 3 thing. I had a buddy that just dropped dead like a year or two ago. That was my best friend growing up. Hadn't seen him in years.
Dude, my friend died the week Shredder's Revenge came out, and we were both so excited about it. And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna play online together." Literally died that week. So it's like crazy.
When I was growing up, I had a friend, Lyle. I'm not gonna say his last name. I don't know what his family, whatever. And I would go over there and play at his house all the time. And I even remember the G.I. Joe jet that had like the wings that went full. What was that? It begins with a C. I can't think of it off. I'm blanking right now. But whatever. They had one of the G.I. Joe jets and the wings went forward. It had like this cool design on it. Somebody's gonna remember. And I remember playing on his stairs and I took the figure and fucking threw it and it just busted at the bottom. And but his family was such an influence for me. And so that's like one of the things I snuck into like Time Kids. So that's technically me and him on the stairs with that jet and like this flashback memory and stuff. And so that was before he passed. And I always figured like maybe I'd run into him and I'd get to tell him like, hey man, I ended up drawing Ninja Turtles or I ended up working on all this stuff. But he was like a year older than me. And I would look up to him and he had an older brother and the older brother would kind of pass down stuff. So like whatever they thought was cool, I'd kind of take in as cool. And then I'd pass on to my younger friends. And so he was the one, I didn't even know what this is very early in the game. But like, yeah, he was the one that knew what Ninja Turtles was. And he said his favorite was Raphael. So I was like, my favorite's Raphael. And that was the first figure I got. And that's when that whole thing started. So he's the one that was liking Dick Tracy. And he would be like, man, I like Dick Tracy. I'm like, well, I like Dick Tracy now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just a little follower of my buddy Lyle. And ironically enough, those moments like completely changed the trajectory and influenced my life. We used to play hit drums. Remember hit drums and stuff like that, you know? Hit guitar. And yeah, man. So like a lot of that was him and his older brother, who also passed, his older brother Lance, who would always bring home comic books. And so those are the first comic books I'm seeing was like Many Deaths of the Batman, Jim Aparo stuff. I'm a big Jim Aparo fan.
He lived in the town next to me where I grew up. So yeah.
No way, huh?
Yeah, he was out of Cheshire, Connecticut. I grew up in Southington, and every once in a while we go into like a comic book store and see it's like, what the hell? Somebody signed this book? You know, he showed up. Yeah.
I'm here. I'm just getting the thing fixed.
Yeah, no worries.
But, no, so that would be a thing. And so that's going to take us, that's like kindergarten area. Look, we also just grew up in this golden age. I make fun. I have some Zoomer fans in my Discord, friends, not fans. And I mess with them all the time. I'm like, dude, y'all grew up on Chowder. And I was like, dude, we had like Ninja Turtles. Like, dude, we grew up on like Predator and fucking Rambo. So all this stuff.
Aliens,
yeah,
RoboCop, all these R-rated properties that are like make into like action figures and stuff, and
it's insane, dude.
Terminator. It's like
how does this happen? Like when I remember, oh man, I remember I got my grandma. I would go to Houston to my grandma's house on the summers, and then I would just kind of like, I don't want to say it was lying, but she would rent me movies and she'd be like, your mom let you watch those? And I'm like, yeah. And I'd always get like Terminator and Rambo and all this stuff. She'd be making me like bread and, you know, like peanut butter and jelly. And I'm watching like John Connor get made. You know what I mean? Like just oblivious to TV. So it was just a moment in time, like you know, people aren't watching the internet and watching what their kids were watching as much. So like, dude, you would just be watching HBO. That's where Monster Squad came from. We all, you know, if you had HBO, Gremlins was another one. I love Gremlins too. And those were the big influences. And I just remember being in front of the TV a lot, and I would sit there just drawing and playing with my toys on the floor. And
I'm assuming you had those LJN wrestling figures that were made of like that hard rubber.
No, but I played with them plenty, and I loved them. Okay. And I saw them the other day. I saw the Logan Paul and Cena at Walmart, or so I was somewhere, and I saw them the other day.
They made a Logan Paul and John Cena one of those?
They just came out with 4 new figures. So they brought back Hogan, Cena, Logan Paul, and there's a 4th. But I don't know who the 4th is. It might have been another retro. But yeah, they brought those back. I like the Hasbro ones better. Like I kind of want to collect those. Mattel does them now. Mattel does them actually. So yeah,
Ricky Steamboat. I remember loving that one.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, like even like Brutus the Barber Beefcake and stuff. And it's like, yeah, these guys aren't like your favorite wrestlers necessarily, but it's like their figures are great. Like, wow, a Marty Jannetty figure, awesome. Right. Yeah. Do you have a favorite wrestler from any era? Just so we can put that out there.
Oh man, favorite wrestler.
I mean,
I wanted Cross to get over. I was on that Cross train, man, and I kind of want to message him about doing like some kind of comic book version. But like growing up, I like Macho Man a lot. I think Macho Man had a lot of heart.
Macho Man guy, yeah.
Because when you hear him, like he's almost like a louder Kirby, where like you hear him giving like like doing a promo, and you're just like, what the F is he saying? And then you listen to it again, and you're like, oh my God, that was like the most brilliant ramble I've ever heard in my life. And then we've all seen that Arsenio Hall clip where he's like, do you ever cry? And he just goes into this whole thing that I do not think was planned. And it was just beautiful, dude. Like, so I think he had heart. I think he had a lot of heart. I think he loved Miss Elizabeth too, man. So yeah.
If you watch the Dark Side of the Ring on that, that's
that.
So yeah, like, absolutely. And well, that's the interesting question. I mean, like I was going to ask you, who do you think would do the voice for Thrum? Do you think that's maybe Macho Man's voice? Then he's like, I like music.
Right. Bonesaw is ready. I don't know. Look, I'd love to see a Thrum come back, but I don't know. But that would be pretty awesome. A Macho Man, maybe a toned down Macho Man. I don't know if that's well, that's interesting.
I wrote in my notes, what would his voice sound like? And then I said, don't say gravelly.
Yeah, right. I feel like it would sound like one of the regular rock soldiers, though. You know what I mean? Like Trag or one of them.
So the Pete Renaday sort of version,
Right.
Interesting questions that we ask on this show,
yes,
that's awesome.
But I live in a silent world, you know what I mean? So like when you're asking, like I'm really, and I'm looking at it on my screen, and I'm just like, what does he sound like? You know what I mean? Like that's like the one element removed from comics that we don't have is sound,
Yeah, and that's why when I interviewed Kevin and when I interviewed Steve, I was like, what are the Turtles listening to? Like, what do they like? What's on the radio when Donatello is, working on his portal, and things like that. Like interesting stuff that we haven't delved into. And it's like, if you're a super geek like we are, it's like, what would they like? Like, do they like hip hop? Does Michelangelo like the Beach Boys? Like, what is it?
Right.
And Steve is so like you said, and he's like, I don't know, he likes the Beach Boys. It's like that is so Steve.
But he would know, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he might like. I know Steve's a big Police fan too. We're both big maybe not as much Sting, but the Police. Maybe that's something.
I'm a huge Police fan. That'll have to be another podcast, man. Like, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Dude, I used to do occasionally we'll do a Twitch stream, and we used to do Sunday Night Sting. And the only songs we would listen to were from Sting catalog, something he had to be involved with.
Like,
dude, I've
Bring
seen
on
him
the Night and all that.
I've seen him a ton, man. Any chance I get to go see him.
I saw him on the Brand New Day tour like way back.
Oh, sick, dude, crazy.
Well, I'll have to talk to you about this. So I might need your assistance on a different show. So that's fantastic. That's cool. The things that you learn about people, like the questions there. Eric, what kind of questions do you have for our guests who we've had on?
Well, I was kind of curious. I know, freaking. I was actually kind of wondering about the you said your crossover. I know that we were kind of talking about the crossovers and everything. What is one thing that you would like to see Turtles work with? Like outside of IDW and of course the other ones that they've already worked with, but like Marvel possibly, or what is your dream job that you would love to do with the Turtles and crossover?
We kind of like semi hinted at it a little bit. And again, I don't know who's at IDW right now at the moment. I've been at Mattel for 2-3 years, but dude, something at the time was I wanted to do a Back to the Future cartoon with the Turtles, and I even did a print of it. I did a print. I don't know if it's on my website. I got them in real life if I ever leave the house and do a show. But it's a Turtles in Time, Back to the Future mashup. You know what I mean? Like where Bebop and Rocksteady are in the pirate outfits and stuff. I like. I don't know. It's got to make sense in my head. They got to be in like ballpark era, but that's something I thought would be fun and a little more obscure. And I was wondering if IDW still had the license at that time because it was like at the tail end of Back to the Future. Yeah. So you get these licenses, you might have it for 5 years. They put out a couple number ones, make their money back, and then it kind of like just floats around at the tail end. You know what I mean? And it's just like, man, wouldn't it be cool to do that? Or I don't think you'll ever see any kind of street
Marty
sharks.
McFly.
Huh?
So James Arnold Taylor did the voice of Marty McFly, and he did the voice of Leonardo in the 2007 Turtles movie.
Really? Okay.
So there's some crossover there. Yeah. He does the intro to our podcast. So
that's awesome, dude. I feel like that's an underrated cartoon. I'm just a big. Remember the Burger King toys came out, and those were the only toys you could have. You had that was the only DeLorean you could have. Was this Burger King toy with Doc's head sticking out, Marty on the hoverboard with it looked like a flying Nimbus underneath. Do I have one handy? I don't think I do. But
just left here.
Well, in just to show y'all, in Ninja Turtles, the first issue of the miniseries, I actually threw in one of the Burger King toys.
Did you really?
Where's it at? So Ground Chuck is actually riding in the Time Train Burger King toy in the comic and stuff. So I'm always throwing in these little things when I can. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's an Easter egg for a future Back to the Future.
Oh, wow.
Crossover.
That's fantastic. That would be a great one. I think Back to the Future. I mean, we've had X-Files, we've had Ghostbusters, and the Ghostbusters are the best crossover. It's like, yes, this makes perfect freaking sense.
Right.
Like, absolutely. And they all kind of line up. And it's like Leonardo, is with Winston, and, Donatello's with Egon, and Michelangelo's with Ray, and, Pete and Raphael are trading barbs back and forth. It's like, yeah, this is like perfect.
You had a dude, I don't know who did the cover. I don't know who it was, but somebody did a cover where it's Michelangelo wearing the proton pack and pointing at it.
Corey Smith. Yep. He was
on Corey Smith is his name. Corey. Hey, brother, one of the coolest goddamn covers I've ever seen in my life. And I wish I knew your name before just now, but that was phenomenal, man.
He's doing okay. He's was the penciler for Fantastic Four. So right now,
man, friggin' killed.
He's doing all right.
All right.
He also did the Mona Lisa Raphael, if you've seen that one.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool dude. We got to meet him at Granite as well, so,
Maybe I do need to go to that show, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you, you will not regret it. It's it's the first one that we've ever did as being a guest there in Artist Alley. And I'm going to tell you, it was definitely an experience that you would never forget, and people are freaking awesome up there. So
that's what Steve said, and Steve had got me in. I think I just had some stuff going on, and I actually do have a ton of Turtles pages that are not online, not anywhere. I would like to unload. And I feel like the market's probably better at some of these shows than
it is. You
know what I mean?
And I'm going to tell you, there's tons of people that are up there are just willing to buy
Fanatics.
OAs.
Yeah.
Fanatics. I got quite a few OAs myself, and I guarantee you, if you're up there, I'm more than likely probably going to be buying one off of you.
Okay.
And this guy probably will too. And
no doubt.
So,
we don't have the same market down here, in Louisiana. So right.
Yeah. It's going up there to Granite, it's it's pretty much close to home of the Turtles and everything, and to be able
I call it adult summer camp.
It truly is to be able to have that experience. Me and him, we've got the experience. Time with Kevin, Judith, anybody from a lot of the people from the movies. And Steve, Jim, all the Mirage guys. We got to experience all that and just sit down and just actually talk about life, which it is experience. Like, I've been to a bunch of different cons. He's been to a bunch of different cons and everything. And to be a part of that con is a completely different experience, in my opinion. It's definitely awesome. I will highly suggest going to that if you can. If you get an invitation to go, absolutely, I would.
Yeah, like I said, I got the PowerCon email. I was looking at it. I got it this morning. And I'm just like, all right. Shit, I got to make a decision on this now. I think it's just, you're probably right. I'll take your advice on it for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If you do go, so that PowerCon's down in Columbus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me know.
All right.
Now, let me ask you this, because we usually follow up talking about Ninja Turtles with talking about pizza.
Pizza.
You're in Louisiana. Do you have any unique toppings or anything that you get on pizza? Something like that. It could just be your favorite topping, but what's your take?
I'm a little more like plain Jane and stuff, but Portnoy did just come down here for the Super Bowl and did like a whole run of the pizza reviews, so that was kind of cool to see, Dave Portnoy. Because I see him on TikTok doing that stuff all the time. That's all I follow him for. No, probably not. I've had shrimp and stuff like that. Is that like odd? Like,
I would think that's odd here. But maybe not odd in like Japan or something. But yeah,
well, I mean, we got shrimp and all that kind of crap down here a ton. But otherwise, like, I'm going to be a little more plain. I'll probably be a little more meat lovers. Okay. I ideally spicy. I like spicy stuff a lot. Dude, I kind of want to try ghost pepper. Like, I'm kind of like building up to that. So
that'd be interesting on a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I almost had one at a party. My buddy, same guy, Tim Stoddard from Showcase Comics, and I was tempted, but I'm just like, dude, I am not going to do this in the middle of like a party, and then like, start dripping sweat and like, I don't know if I could, I'd rather take it home and be in a safer environment.
Need some milk.
Right. And that's what people ended up doing. They had to go drink milk and stuff. Y'all ever watch LA Beast?
No, but I've seen Hot Ones, but not LA Beast.
Okay, LA Beast is like the original dude on YouTube. Yeah. And I sent him a bunch of Ghostbusters comics. He mentioned me in a video. And he does all these he'll do all these food things where he'll drink like a gallon of curdled milk or eating like a whole like wasabi, like craziest stuff. And I'm always like, anytime these like moments come up, I'm talking about like I put like a little bit extra Cholula, and I'm like, oh, if LA Beast could do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? But I kind of want to build up to, I would like to try like a little one, you know what I mean? And just kind of work up to some of those hotter.
I used to get scorpion pepper jerky that I liked a lot.
Okay.
It was hot as hell. That was a good one. And
like sweaty hot? Like it's like,
oh dude, it's unreal.
Oh yeah.
But like
it'll light
your point,
clean your sinuses. That's what I'm looking for,
I don't need that. Like if I want to get
tear
like
gas, you'll be good.
Right. Well, so I have a theory, and I don't know if it's realistic or not, but like we have so much spice down here in Louisiana, and I think it's just because we have so much like horrible humidity and weather. Like it does clean your sinuses and everything, and so that's why I'm kind of like, is that why spice is so big here? And we just forgot, like, So I'm always kind of, I'm interested. I'm probably not ready for it. Don't call me on it, but
that's like the exact type of thing that I like to research and dive into, and to be like, yeah, today we're going to look into the historical applications of spice and whatever. But that's just like my kind of hyper fixation. So it's like, I love that. That's like an interesting thing. So what you're saying is the pizza recipe at the end of this episode has to be something spicy. Yeah, so that's what I'll look for. So
yeah, I want it to be like crawfish. I was at a crawfish boil a few years ago at my buddy's house, and like that's what they were like. No, I like it when I want to be sweating. I want to be like sinus clear. I want that level of heat, like just enough, not where I have to like run and get milk or something like that, or I have to get like a dairy product, but like, yeah, I want to know I had something substantial, Test the limits a little bit with my food.
At least it's not pineapple.
No, it's not pineapple. No, I mean, I've had pineapple. It doesn't. I feel like it's almost like a neutral. Like, you know what I mean? Does it really? I don't know.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
No, I do not. But I've had it on there, and it was just
okay.
Sorry,
you win this episode. Okay.
Okay.
Like, I guess I'll eat it. Like I'm hungry.
Whoa. So there's this whole dispute between me and Justin about pineapple on pizza. Of course, my wife and kid they like pineapple on pizza, and I feel like it's a crime.
Okay. What about like a banana pepper or something like that? Like I feel like that's like another neutral. Like
But pineapple on pizza, I mean, it's a fruit.
In the comic, they were talking about how Michelangelo couldn't get out of the virtual reality because April was bringing over the peanut butter and raisin crust pizza.
Right.
Couldn't miss that, So I feel like there's such further ways that you could go with it.
Absolutely. What was that one post that you just had about pizza?
Oh, yeah. Literally making a strip of bacon into a pizza instead of using dough and putting the sauce and then the cheese on top of a strip of bacon. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's just insane.
I've had some northern bacon where they'll put it in like these big chunks and stuff like that.
Wow.
It's wild,
Just call it pork belly pizza.
Right.
It'd be pretty good.
You know, Eric, I'll be looking forward to that recipe for pork belly pizza you make. That'll be good. We'll look forward.
I do make some pepperoni rolls though.
Yes, dude, that looks good. Anyway, we're getting off topic. We've kept him way longer than we had promised to. I want to thank our guest. You can check him out on his Instagram, which is Team Lattie, or you can go to lattieinc.com. Where do you like people to follow you more? Like, where do you want to interact with fans?
I just redid the website, so there is original art on there. There's a commissions list if you're interested in something like that. They got some posters and things. Yeah. So it's me answering. So if you're interested, send an email and see if we can work something out. I just did one with a guy. He doesn't want me to share it, which is driving me nuts because I love it. But ended up he wanted to make like his own Ninja Turtles characters. And it turned into this snowball event where he was just like, I want it to be an ox, or I want a female Usagi Yojimbo. And then it just became this giant. I turned it into a VHS cover where you can print it out and actually fold it and seal it. But it's something, it's something personal to him, so he didn't want to share. And I'm a super cool dude. But like,
cool.
I love doing stuff like that. So I'm willing to do anything from like a sketch cover to even character design and like full development of something. Just got to understand it's time permitting. You know what I mean? Like whenever something comes in or whatever. But otherwise, dude, I'm posting on Instagram, posting on TikTok a lot now and YouTube. So, those normal places where all the kids are at. You can Team Lattie will get you there.
Yeah. And you can check out Time Kids is still available on Amazon. I saw that. So in Webtoons, of course. You could check out the Candlestick Club. I think it's great. I believe you have a Patreon as well. Is that still going?
Yeah, I'm good. That's next on my list of things to update and just really figure out how to what am I giving you? What is our trade-off going to be? Why are you here? You know what I mean? Yep. It just I don't want money for nothing, like the song. You know what I mean? Like
or chicks for free. Okay.
Yeah, or chicks for free. Yeah, dude. And I think Sting even like worked on that. I think Sting even like did some of the background on that. Yeah, dude. So yeah, like that would probably be Instagram, the Twitch whenever I do it, or YouTube. I'm posting a lot of clips on there, and then the website. And you can do it again. You can message me on Instagram or whatever if anybody's interested in something.
All right, and we'll put some links to all those pages in the show notes. You can check us out next time. Until next time, thanks for joining us all on Epic Tales from the Sewers. Eric, any final thoughts?
No.
All right, so get out there, play some Shredder's Revenge, buy some NECA toys, and help support our friend Tim. All right, we'll catch you next time.
It's pizza time.
And now, in a segment that we call Pizza Time, where we discuss any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or pizza-related food, I give you Pizza Time.
And now, your pizza recipe of the day, Tortilla Pizzas with Chorizo. Active 30 minutes, total 30 minutes, serves about 4. Ingredients: 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 8 ounces of fresh chorizo, casings removed, crumbled, 4 8-inch flour tortillas, 1 16-ounce can of refried beans, 1 cup shredded Oaxacan cheese, about 4 ounces, 3 ounces mache, lettuce, or arugula, 1/2 cup fresh cilantro, 3 radishes thinly sliced, 1 red jalapeno pepper sliced, remove the seeds for less heat, juice of 1 lime, kosher salt, 1 avocado diced, and 1/3 cup of crema or sour cream. Step 1. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Heat 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a large non-stick skillet over medium heat. Add the chorizo and cook, stirring occasionally until browned for about 4 minutes. Remove the chorizo to plate with a slotted spoon. Transfer about 1 tablespoon of the drippings into a small bowl. Stir the remaining 1 tablespoon olive oil onto the bowl. Reserve the skillet. Divide the tortillas between 2 baking sheets and brush the tops with the dripping mixture. Bake until the tortillas are crisp and lightly golden, about 5 minutes. Step 2. Heat the skillet with the reserved 1 tablespoon of drippings over medium-high heat. Add the refried beans and cook, stirring until they're warm and spreadable, for about 2 minutes. Spread the beans on the tortillas and sprinkle with the chorizo and the cheese. Bake until the cheese melts, about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, combine the lettuce, cilantro, radishes, jalapeno, and lime juice in a large bowl. Season with salt and toss. Top each tortilla with the salad, avocado, and crema. And that's your recipe, Tortilla Pizzas with Chorizo.
Cowabunga, dudes! Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman, Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW Studios, Archie Comics, or Nickelodeon Studios. This podcast is a member of the Dorkening Podcast Network. Check out thedorkening.com for other podcasts.
This podcast is also a member of the Collector's Maze Podcast Network. Check them out at collectorsmazenetwork.com.
Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper and Eric Will.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Greetings and shabebans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite seems trying to say is that on Retro Reductopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh. And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Dorking Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Reductopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
It took me 10 years to make the perfect man cave.
And then we took it over, and we made it into the multiversal chamber.
Then I started my own podcast.
And we took that over too. And we're the co-hosts, the Multiverse Kids.
Yeah, and I'm the dad, the geeky dad. And every week, we what?
We review the movies, shows, and books, games, and toys.
Yeah, and sometimes we even have a special guest. So, join us every week on the Geeky Dad Podcast.
Hello, intrepid listeners. This is the Generation Playlist Podcast, a podcast about music where we are your guides through a particular group or artist.
We talk about the music, and then we make a customized playlist to share with you, our listeners. And you can check us out wherever you listen to podcasts, and find our playlists on Spotify.
Epic Tales from the Sewers is a new member of the Collector's Maze Network for all things geek. Check out other shows such as The Realmcast, The Creature Designer, The Evil Squid Comics, Eat, Drink, and Game, Road Tripvia, Collector's Maze Podcast, The Cosplay Club, Click On, Journey Through Lego Builds, House of Geekery, Floor Access, Cartridge in a Quest, Cost to Read, Avalon Universe, and Scooby Addicts.